Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Elevate Ministries. Elevate Ministries is an authentic, passionate, and innovative church in the heart of Orange County, California. They strive to make their services welcoming and encouraging by intentionally engaging you in all senses to stimulate a spiritual hunger. If you're looking for a great church that's on a mission to change the world one person at a time, I encourage you to check them out at www.elevateministries.com and on Instagram at Elevate Ministries. Secondly, this podcast is also brought to you by the good people at Hope and Promises. The director of Hope and Promises, my brother-in-law, Art Pena, started this nonprofit with a simple goal to provide food, water, and supplies to those in need through local outreaches and local food pantries. Internationally, Hope and Promises has completed humanitarian work in El Salvador, Mexico, and Honduras. Consider donating to Hope and Promises today by visiting their website at www.hopeandpromises.com and on Instagram at Hope and Promises. Let's do this.
Light of the temple, sword swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Blackberry on the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One, and this is episode number. Yo, Cam, what episode is this? 47. Yo, man. So, 47 episodes. I think we got a total of 58 altogether with our special episodes there and a couple of smaller episodes we did early on. So getting up there, man. It's like 2 years already, right, Cam?
Yes, sir.
I mean, hopefully we'll get to 60 before next month, but we should be good. If you caught last episode, special episode with Bedros Koulian, I would really highly recommend if you're a youngster out there, even a grown man, listen to that one, man. It's a really good one. Pass it to your friends, pass it to some youngsters out there. The guy has a vast knowledge of just how to be a man, how to get going, where to start if you don't know where to start. Definitely a good one. So check it out, a special episode with Bedros Koulian. But we're going to get down to the business, man, because my guest today, he's got to get going here, man, because he's got a show tonight. But I always like to play a little bit of a banger before I, this guy right here. If you don't know already, he's first of all, he's a father, he's a husband, he's an entrepreneur, he's a recording artist, he's blowing up in the comedy game. The dude is huge on YouTube. His podcast is just everywhere. And to mention all that, he is the Tamale King.
The Ghetto Vaquero, El Rey de Foreplay, the Masa Messiah.
Okay, I really like the name, the Masa Messiah. I heard that today on your new song, and I was like, that's dope. But
Sure.
If you heard that voice, I want you to give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, Chingo Bling.
Hey, it's your boy Chingo Bling with the big tamarindo, the Ghetto Vaquero, El Rey de Foreplay, the Versace Mariachi.
What's up, brother?
We out here, man, in the IE, you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I finally got you, man.
Finally, sorry about that, bro. It was a lot of back and forth, but hey,
man,
perfect timing.
You're a busy guy, like I just said. I mean, you're always, doing something. I mean, I was checking out a lot of your stuff for a few years already. And, you got Patreon and the YouTube and your Facebook.
This is my second YouTube channel. Yeah.
I mean, your second YouTube channel.
Because the first one, zapped.
Speaking of that, so you got zapped, right?
Yeah.
So for everybody out there, Chingo talks a lot about being shadow banned.
Yeah.
It's a real thing, right?
Yeah, there's all kind of stuff that big tech does because, that's what they do. They got, it's their platform. You got to stick to their rules and you got to maneuver, like, especially, there's always something in the news where it's like, what do they do? Like Twitter. So, and I got to be careful what I say because this will be on YouTube and things like that. So even when you're commenting about situations,
right,
it could have all these repercussions. I had a video removed. We had a guest on, and she said something like, "I think there were shenanigans in the elections," and I'm just put it like that. boom. They didn't give me a strike.
Right.
They gave me a slap on the wrist. But like, there's a new thing. There's this actress named. Well, here's where it gets tricky. Now she's Elliot Page.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
All right. So
Jordan Peterson had a little
So her old name, basically, I guess Jordan Peterson. He said something about the surgeon that did some work on her.
Right.
Remove some feminine things.
Right.
And he just I don't know everything about it, but he basically mentioned her his see, it gets tricky. His old name, and they call that dead naming. And then it's another dude named I think Dave Rubin. He owns this platform called Locals. Well, he retweeted, like commented, was like, "Yo, Jordan Peterson just hit me up. He just got suspended for saying XYZ or something." He was just like commenting about it. Boom, he's suspended too.
I saw that.
And then was the actor Elliot Page.
Yeah.
His old name. Know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
People listening right now is like, what are they talking about?
Look it up.
Yeah. So there used to be an actress. That's how you got to say it. Not
And she was a decent actress.
Yeah. She was in what like X-Men and Juno and stuff like that. And basically you got to call him his now. His old name, which was Ellen Page, was trending on Twitter, and then somebody told Twitter, they called him out. I don't know who it was, BuzzFeed or somebody was like, "Hey, y'all have the old name trending. Y'all breaking y'all's own rules. Y'all are dead naming this person." So they removed the whole trending topic. It's like, okay, this ain't a trend no more. It's like it's what people talking about. That's the hashtag. It's like gaming the system. You know what I mean? They're just like, nah, it's not a trend no more because we have rules. And that's why as soon as Elon Musk takes over, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully. But basically, bro, that's the type of situation you get when you hire these activists, woke, just, they sensitive. I don't know how they were raised. It's just a different generation.
Right.
But they just go around wanting to cancel and shut people down, shut people up. And instead of coming with like a better argument or having a discussion, they just want to label you, call you something. I got hit with a lot of that in the beginning. All the activists came out the woodwork when I was talking about the political stuff. And I could tell a lot of them weren't even fans. They were just like crash dummies that somebody put a battery in their back and they just wanted to hop on a computer like, oh, this vendido malinche sellout coconut wants to be white, kissing ass to the white folk.
Yeah, they want to cancel anybody, right? I mean, it is a crazy game, a crazy time we live in. Like you said, I mean, who are raising these kids? When we were young, right? And I'm not trying to act like we're all old or something like that.
I'm 42.
I'm 48.
Okay.
But when we were young, somebody talk about you, right? Either you go in the yard and you handle it, or you take it like a man, or you. I was a good capper. I imagine since you're a comedian, I cap back, and it was on, right? And that was it. We wasn't like we were gonna go and
Cap King, bro.
Try to cancel anybody, right, or anything like that. It was kind of like take your licks. That's it. But in this culture, words mean something, and they're not even. There were certain things that we couldn't say back in the day. You couldn't say the N word. You couldn't say certain things. We kind of knew some limitations that we couldn't do, right? But nowadays, you can't even call somebody by their old name.
Yeah, the rules change all the time,
right? And hopefully Elon Musk takes over. I mean, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, just for the sake of having
free speech.
Yeah, having it to where not one side of the narrative or one side of the conversation always getting shut down and like shadow banned. Like what's that, Project Veritas?
Yeah,
it's funny because they'll set up people that work at Twitter. They'll set them up on little Tinder dates.
Right.
So they have their like investigative journalists go on a little Tinder date with a engineer from Twitter, and they'll get them talking. Oh, tell me about your job, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we're like borderline communists. Like if you're not feeling it and you need mental space and you want to just take a month off, that's cool. It's not about productivity. It's not about profit. And I start to think to myself, oh, it's basically a propaganda machine with a bunch of bots. It's not even a actual feasible business. Like they're being subsidized somehow, some way to be a propaganda machine for a certain mainstream narrative or whatever it is they trying to influence. And even though the conversation on Twitter ain't a real it's not a real place. It's not even, half of them ain't even real people, but it tends to have influence, and it tends to influence politicians and Congress people. And they're like, oh, this is a hot topic or whatever. So
going back, let me ask you this, because I mean, it's easy for people. I'm fifth generation here, right? I barely can speak Spanish. I mean, a couple words, bro. I mean, people when I was growing up didn't understand that, and I was like, look, it was different. It was a different time. You can come to this country now and not know English and get by.
Yeah,
right. But your background, you're first generation.
Yeah, my parents are from Mexico.
So when people try to like call you a coconut, I mean, isn't you being first generation defeat that narrative in a way, because it's like,
well, not to them.
Well, how?
Well,
like me, I could say, yeah, I'm a little bit of mix of a couple other races, but mostly Mexican. My last name's Mexican. My great grandfather's from Mexico. Yeah, you know what I mean. 5 generations here, I get it. But 1 generation is just not too far away.
Yeah, a lot of people that say stuff like that, like, oh man, Chingo and all his listeners, man, they a bunch of no sabo kids or whatever. And it's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, you're not going to, like, I'm not saying I'm the most Mexican person in the world. I'm not saying that. But, you know, I mean, we used to go a lot, and my parents are from Mexico, and that's a big part of my identity or whatever. But some people just can't handle when you want to have a certain discussion about a specific thing, right?
Right.
That's the thing. When you just get the name calling, that just means you no longer have any arguments in terms of like, hey, man, we talking about gas price right now. You know what I mean? What does your mind reading ability of you trying to think that I'm trying to be something else just because I'm telling you, hey, man, the reserves of the oil we had set up is there for national security. That's for a rainy day emergency. And if I try to make the argument like, yo, they giving it away, they selling it or whatever, giving it away to these other countries that hate us, and we're begging these other countries for some oil that hate us, like Iran. Like, we're dealing with dictators now. Yeah. Venezuela. Hey, Venezuela, you think you give me some oil? Bro, I'm from Texas, bro. We got oil.
Right.
There's oil. America has oil. You know,
I just saw a stat today. In a little section of Texas, it said that it had enough oil to supply the U.S. for 200 years.
Yeah. Permian Basin, West Texas, Odessa, Midland.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
so they're frustrated. They're kind of like, well, you know, we got it. We're standing on top of it. But, you know, they got this agenda right now where they trying to, like, bamboozle people and be like, nah, bro, we got to go green, and we got to do this, and we got to, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, you're going to wreck the economy. You're going to wreck civilization. Like,
yeah, it's
just they're trying to go about stuff in a way where it sounds good, but it ain't working.
Right. I think, do you think, this is what I think, but do you think that, and let's just say the culture, and it could be Hispanic, it can be black, but just that our neighborhood culture, right? Inner city culture. Do you think it's just, like you said, bamboozled all the time? It's just like they don't have the information, or they don't want to receive the information, or even listen to the information. They just take what the news feeds on.
Ain't no more real big homies, bro.
Right. True.
And you know, parenting, the fathers, the man of the house. This goes back to the Bible. I mean, it's just a natural order of things. And modern society, how they try to bamboozle. I talk about it on my show. I'm gonna talk about it tonight. Basically, man, they're trying to sell people this pipe dream that, like, with this feminism stuff, they're trying to divide us. So what they do is they go tell the women, you don't need no man. You don't need no man. What you need a man for? You do by your damn self. And, you know, in a lot of ways, yeah, women could do a lot of stuff on their own. They can get by. You know, but sometimes when the ish hits the fan, sometimes you need a man.
You need a father.
Yeah, you need a father. A lot of these kids, man, that's shooting up every damn thing. It makes you wonder, like, who raised you? What was your household? A lot of these kids get in trouble, like Chicago's murder rate, you know, the drive-by, just the crash dummy. These kids, man, a lot of times it's 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids. They're the ones out there carjacking, joyriding, robbing people at the gas station, shooting people on the freeway. And it's just like, yo, it's no more big homies. I guess the big homies got locked up. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
But it's just chaos and disorder.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos and disorder. It does start in the home. That's what I always say. It starts in the home. No father is a big problem.
That's a huge
and that's not a knock to all the single mothers out there.
Yeah, of course not.
But there's certain things that you learn from a man, and that's for your sons and that's for your daughters too, to learn from their father.
Absolutely.
You know, I want my daughter to see me and say, I want a man like him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Hardworking. He's going to protect us. He's looking out for us. He's providing. And if you don't see that, you don't know what to look for. Same with the young men. I mean, they don't know. They don't have that voice. I always talk about that voice in your head. I have that voice. You have that voice, right? My son has that voice. It's a man voice, right? That's saying, get up, do it. You know, be a man. It's just what you need to do.
Get her done.
Yeah, get her done, man.
Handle up, big dog. But, come on, Chingo, do your push-ups. Not right now, fool.
Dude, no, okay, so Chingo Bling been around forever.
Yeah, long-ass time.
A long time, man. I mean, you know, when you think about it, like you look young, man. And so when I was
you too, brother. You 48, brother. You ain't shit.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I saw you started motivating me with your workout.
I got shades on, man. I need to catch a nap. I need to slow down on some stuff.
You got a little tour going, man.
Yeah.
You deserve to be a little bit tired. Yeah. That's the tour life, right?
My wife flies in tomorrow.
Nice.
And then we go hit El Centro, California, go do a show out there. And then back home with the fam. And we just moved, too, so it's just a lot of stuff we got to take care of. And, you know,
still grinding, though.
Yeah, got little babies, little kids at home and stuff.
Nice, man. How many you got?
3 girls, all daughters.
Oh, so you a girl dad, man. Yeah. That's too much drama for me, bro. I got one daughter, man. More than enough. Yeah, let's just say that. More than enough.
That's plenty.
That's plenty for me, dog. But you've been in the game forever. Going back to like late 90s?
No. I started technically like 2001, but it was so small, underground and local. It was literally
Houston area, right?
Actually, I started in San Antonio first. So I went to college in San Antonio, and I did college radio, and then I started slanging mixtapes, hustling mixtapes at the flea market, and that's kind of where the notoriety, like that's why I was planting the seeds first on the south side of San Antonio, and then just the streets were just like, yo, this dude off the wall. What is he saying? Man, have you heard this dude? Rewind it. What did he say? You know what I mean?
I remember, man.
Yeah, it's just like, yo, he's talking about different stuff. He's being silly. He's like, it's funny. He does parodies, just, you know, rapping on other people's beats, doing skits. Just, you know, because from my hip-hop influence, a lot of good albums had skits, and they would paint a picture, and I had my little recorder. Back in the day, Roland used to make like a studio in a box. Like it was like the 80, I forget what they call it, the 404. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a little recorder, like a 4-track basically. Yeah. So I would use my imagination. I'd get on there, do different voices, different characters, put like, you know, sound effects, background music. Like, okay, this is gonna be an interaction between this type of dude. I'm gonna make it sound like City Streets. So I'd go sample that. You know what I mean?
That's dope. How old were you right there?
Let me see.
Early 20s?
My math is bad. Yeah, early 20s. Yeah.
So did you have that mind already? Like you were just like, was that mind always in you? Like that skit mind, funny mind?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I should like talking mess in the cafeteria on the school bus.
You were that guy.
Yeah, like not like class clown disrupting, but I'd be in the back and I'd have my little one-liners.
Yeah.
Still got my work done, but
that sounds like me, man. So I wasn't the class clown either. So I would differentiate myself, right? The class clown will trip and fall,
overdo
it,
do too much.
Class comedian,
yeah.
So I mean that's you know, you have a one-liner, you kind of make the teacher laugh sometimes with your little jokes. Okay,
exactly,
I got you.
Exactly.
So you were always in that realm.
Yeah. So when I was little, for example, my older sister, she had a boombox, so I learned how to use the tape recorder part of it, and I'd be like, let me just freestyle and use my imagination and make up like a scary story. I'm gonna make the door squeak, and that's gonna be the big, you know, there was a lady in the house, you know, blah 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 blah. And that's just you know, kid stuff, imagination. But yeah, like around 2001, I graduated from college, and that's when it was like, okay, I got this marketing business degree. Don't nobody want to hire me. I kind of don't want a real job anyway. I didn't want a boss. So at the time, I was thinking like, man, DJ Clue got a, you know, with his mixtapes, he's got distribution. He's under, I guess he put out an album or two under Jay-Z. And then
killing it.
And then where I'm from, mixtapes were big as well, like DJ Screw and a lot of artists. And So that's what I thought was gonna be my route. And but you know, my music started picking up steam, and I saw a future there. I actually wanted to do stand up first.
Really? That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah. So when I graduated college, the music thing hadn't really picked up yet. It was very, very small time, local, yokel. And I was like, okay, I'm done in San Antonio. I'm gonna move back to Houston. I'm gonna get into stand up. And I went to meet up with this comedian from back home, Juan Villarreal. He had already been on BET, Comic View. Like, he was doing it, you know, doing it big. Definitely put the city on the map in a lot of ways with comedy. And I went to see one of his events, and afterwards I'm like, yo, you know, I want to get in the game. And he's like, what? And it's like, what do I do? What's the first step? What do I need to do? And he's like, okay, well, you know, stick around. We'll tell you about the open mics and stuff like that. You know, hey, kid, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And, but sure enough, before I could even really get on that grind, the music stuff then I started getting feedback like, yo, they bumping you in Dallas, bro. Or like, hey, man, down in you got to go to Corpus Christi. You got to go to the Rio Grande Valley. Like, because kids were downloading, they were sharing, like LimeWire.
And were you taking it serious, or were you just like, this is fun? You know, let me put out this mixtape. Or were you really serious about, you know, putting it out? Because you had this whole kind of moniker, this character.
Yeah.
Persona, right? Persona.
Yeah. So yeah, I took it serious for sure. With the limited resources I had, you know, so like my family helped me a lot. You know, my older sisters helped me a lot. So when I'd get booked for a show, you know what I mean? So it's like, dang, I got to figure out what the hell I'm gonna wear. Like, this was all like super new to me. But yeah, I took it serious in terms of like say if I got hired to host a concert and I'm just supposed to be the funny guy going up in between the artists. Well, I took it serious enough to be prepared and know that if an artist is late, can I do a couple songs? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just going to host. I'm like, all right. So if you look at it that way, it's kind of like I had more stage time than a lot of the other people because I was the host. I kept having to go up. What's up? Y'all having a good time? Where the single ladies at? You know, but I was silly, you know, up there being funny. And a lot of times I had merch and some of the artists on the lineup didn't. So I was actually having to show up early. I had my burned CDs. I'm having to cut out the little jewel case insert. I'm shrink wrapping with a little blow dryer. I'm the one that's like, yo, y'all got a plug around here because I need to plug in my seal wrap machine so that I can have 20 CDs or something on the table after the show.
See, this is what trips me out about you, man. Is that you already had that mindset, and nobody really taught that to you. You were kind of just like, well, let me host this show. Hey, if there's some space, let me bring some merch. And this is not like now where where kind of everybody knows to do that stuff, right? This is early on where you're just like maximizing every potential avenue that you had and just be like, I'm gonna sell merch, I'm gonna make these mixtapes, I'm gonna do a little comedy, I'm gonna create this persona. I think that was huge, man. When I think about you and how you started, that's the first thing I think about. Like, now this dude been around for a long time and he's maximized even now with all your stuff that you got going on.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times it's like the audacity, it's like the nerve of this kid. And when I got into the comedy lane, I didn't know all the rules. I didn't know no better, right? So I was doing stuff and trying stuff to where they'd be like, comedians don't really do that. Or they'd be like, oh, you doing characters? Like, you're going in the back to change, like while another comedian's up, and now you're coming back out as another guy. You know, and you have stage props, and now you have a volunteer on stage. Well, because I didn't really have the material in the beginning. So I was doing stuff like that, and they'd be like, dude, you don't want to be labeled as a prop comic. And I'm like, I'm not worried about that right now. We're not even there yet. Like, I'm not gonna be right. I'm not gonna be pigeonholed like, oh man, you like Carrot Top. It's like, I'm just doing that for now and I'm gonna evolve. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of times, man, when you just don't know no better, it helps you. Because if somebody had sat me down and told me all the rules of comedy, like, hey man, don't bring too much merch just because a lot of comedians don't really do that. Okay, so that's the norm, and I'm supposed to follow that norm. You know what I mean? Like,
no, everybody does that.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's the thing I was tripping out because maximizing that. So you end up getting pretty big in the music thing, And I mean, do you think it was the persona? Because the hat, the bling, the teeth, you know, the boots, of course, right? Everybody talks about the boots, man. Yeah. I mean, but the music was good too, though. So I think that people they like the character, right? And I don't think there was anybody. I can't think of another character. I mean, Humpty, right? Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
Big inspiration,
right? I can only think about. But I mean, but the music was good. So not only was it a character and funny, you still put out some dope music with a lot of dope artists.
Yeah. I mean, considering that I started from scratch, so yeah, I will say that like yo, we, you know, that was a nice run because you started literally with just an idea, and I took the funny route, you know, because it's like, bro, I ain't no gangster, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not no dope dealer. I'm not gonna be mean mugging in a poster. Like, that's not gonna fit me. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, bro, he went to college. What is he doing? He, you know, boom, pulled your card. You ain't no gangster. Pull your resume. And it's like, nah, bro, I'm out here. I'm an entertainer. I'm a businessman. I'm a hustler.
I like that.
And that's why the tamales thing that, you know, my family did when they first moved here, the tamales thing fit perfect. Because it's kind of like, oh, it's like I'm making fun of the hip hop game too. Because you had Jeezy and everybody talking about whipping up this and cooking up that and
selling it out the trunk,
selling this and selling that, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is something that immigrants or just anybody, just people who, if they ever got to make some bread or if they want to get a hustle, like that hustle's always there, and it just had those parallels of like, you know, you do it in the kitchen, and then you weigh it, and then this, right. and then the dozens, they look like bricks, and it was just like, oh yeah, I'm running, you know, I'm definitely gonna push this.
And that marketing degree, how much did that help you? Did you get anything from that?
Yeah, I mean, I try to give them credit sometimes, but honestly, man, a lot of that is just from being a fan, a nerd of music. Like when MTV News would come on. I'd be like, shh, yo, MTV News, breaking news, you know, something happened or whatever. Or when the jewel cases, the CD insert, I'm reading this sampled this was produced by this person. Oh, it was recorded at Baseline Studios. This is the lawyer that dealt with it. Oh, who got publishing? I'm reading the names of everybody that got publishing on that song. So I know I'm looking at who all wrote and produced. And I'm just sitting there as I'm enjoying, just as a fan, as you're enjoying the music. I want to do a deep dive and picture like, yo, where did Nas record this? You know, and who signed him, and you know, stuff like that.
And I heard a story that you said about Diddy, and there was kind of like a battle to get you signed. You started blowing up, and a lot of people wanted to sign you. Was it a Latino thing? Like, let me get this Latino because he's hot, and maybe there's only one other guy, you know, a Daddy or a pitbull or somebody like that out there. Was it part of that, or
well, Diddy wanted to sign me thanks to Pitbull.
Oh, dope. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that.
But to answer your question, it depends on the situation. Like when Master P hit me up, that was through a producer that I knew, and I think maybe Master P had mentioned to him. I don't know if he said like, I need a Latino. I don't know if he said that, or maybe he just said, I need some new blood. I need somebody young,
something different,
up and coming. And he called me. And I was actually in Miami about to walk the red carpet for MTV because of Pitbull. I was like a part of Pitbull's crew, basically, like kind of like the plus one. Like, hey, man, yeah, you could roll with us type thing. And so when Master P hit me up, he's like, you know, what's up, man? You know, I got your info from such and such, and, you know, where you at? What you got going on? I'm like, well, shit, I'm in Miami. I'm going to have to hit you back. I'm about to walk this MTV red carpet.
If you want to pull those off, it's fine, man.
Okay. Nah, I kind of like to hear it.
Cool.
And I told him that, and he was like, oh, well, it already sounds like you got a bunch of stuff going on. I'm looking for somebody that's still, like, up and coming. I'm just like, and by then the convo was over, and I'm just like, wait, we can still, you know what I mean? Hold on, man.
He was huge.
Like, it wouldn't. Like, I wasn't the one invited to the red carpet. Like, I'm here because of Pitt.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Master P, that was just like, what the hell? I was starstruck.
That's dope.
And then the Diddy thing, that was a Latino thing. Because Pitbull gave Diddy the idea to start a, like, Latino label.
Okay.
Right? So at the time, Pitt was locked in under TVT Records, so he was kind of stuck. And but he was putting plays together. He was hustling. He's had a vision, and he did a whole bunch of stuff for Diddy. I mean, he set up the whole like launch party in Miami, like found the venue, took Diddy and me to the radio station.
Gee.
And yeah, that's why he was pissed when at the fucking MTV thing, he's just like, damn, where the fuck Diddy at? Next thing you know, Daddy Yankee's on stage and Diddy's dancing around the gasolina. He's like, damn, this motherfucker, man, just ghosted everybody. You know what I mean? But yeah, interacting with Diddy, that's because Pitt basically told him, hey, man, Little John wants to sign him. Little John wants to sign Chingo. He made that up. And he was like, so if you don't jump on it, Lil John is. And then he had to call Lil John and say, hey, man, if anybody asks, you want to sign Chingo Bling? He's like, all right, cool. Because they're super tight. So it's like, yeah, whatever, dog.
So Pitbull was looking out for you.
Big time. All the time.
Dope.
He stuck his neck out for me like so many times.
Dope.
One time specifically, there was like a big Latino concert in Houston. And it was like all the reggaeton people and all this. And they had me super early in the lineup. And I felt disrespected. And I was young, had an ego. And I'm just like, nah, man, this is my city. And I got this and that going on. And y'all putting these payola people who got one song. Y'all flew them in from Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Yep. And I'm like, hell no, I'm going to show up late and I'm going to go on. And the program director was pissed. That was very unprofessional. I know that now. And the program director was Cuban. And Pitt had to like, wait, papa, bro, and he's like, no, Pitt, you know, for you, bro, you don't do that, eso no se hace, bro, you know, and he's like, all right, he can still go on, but you're not supposed to be late, and I'm gonna do it for you, type of thing. So yeah, there was a lot of those.
Hey, I mean, everybody needs some sort of connection that got you back in the industry, right?
Yeah, big homie,
because it is a shady industry, right? And I heard that. One of the things I heard that you didn't sign with Diddy because mostly of creative, he wanted to have creative control. And that was another thing I tripped out on you about because a lot of people don't think about that, right? Mm-hmm. They have this image and then they have to get steered by whoever's paying them, right?
Yeah.
But to say, hey, man, I want to have creative control of what does that mean to like a young artist out there?
I mean, to put it to you this way, Diddy's obviously very good at what he does. He's sold hundreds of, I don't know how many, or at least over 80 million records. I mean, with Biggie, Mace, and 112, and all these different groups. So he's really good at what he does. I look up to him. I admire him. But I wasn't going to sign some entry-level beginner artist, like basically screw myself contractually. I wasn't going to sign my name.
Which so many people do.
Yeah, because, you know, contracts is everything in entertainment business. And thankfully I was doing a crash course. Like it's a gentleman named Charlie Braxton out of Mississippi who was schooling me where he's like, Chingo, your masters, try to own your masters if you can. That's the intellectual property, you know, stuff like that. So a lot of the Houston artists, we always had an independent mindset because we saw Rap-A-Lot Records do it.
No Limit.
I mean, they're out of New Orleans, but they were big in Texas for sure. Not to mention Jay Prince, Rap-A-Lot Records. He owns an island off of Honduras. Yeah. He owns a 1,000-acre ranch, which I had the honor to see and go in Texas. 1,000-acre ranch in Texas, full with cattle, Black Angus cattle. He sells the hay from off of there. Penthouse in River Oaks, top level penthouse. River Oaks is like the Beverly Hills of Houston.
Crazy.
The island, all that. You know what I mean?
Because they were smart, right? I mean, you're talking, you signed the wrong deal. You're
stuck.
You're getting pennies compared to getting dollars.
You're gonna owe the label. You're gonna like if you sign a bad deal, you're gonna be owned by them and you're gonna owe them like for a long time.
Because we've seen that, right? I mean, TLC sold so many albums, but they owed their label a ton of money. Matter of fact, I seen that Elvis movie, right? This
I haven't seen it yet.
It's good, but that dude, the colonel, burned Elvis. His manager, all those years. He was taking like 50% of the profit the whole time, and then when he decides to leave him, he goes back like 15 years. I'm sorry to give it away for the whole movie, but it's out there. It's been out there for years. But he goes back 15 years that he for first signing with him, and he goes back to the first show, and he goes, "You owe me for." It was like, I think it was like a Coke you know, and he starts adding it all up, and it ended up being like $8 million for the 15 years. And he's like, you got to pay me this because it's what you owe me. And, you know, it pretty much broke him. I mean,
they're sharks, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy atmosphere. Do you think that now is it easier for the artists, or is it still pretty much controlled by these labels to get out there?
Well, in the music game, bro, I haven't really been keeping up, but there's parallels.
But like with streaming and that stuff, and being able to get YouTube, whatever.
I'll give you a better example. Andrew Schultz, comedian from New York, he got paid by Netflix, and he was going to owe them a special. So he did the Infamous tour. He put together the Infamous comedy special. They produced it, edited, and then turned it in to Netflix. Like, here it is. Boom. That's the product. We good. Thanks for the money. Check. Sus. Vámonos. And they were like, ooh, you know what, bro? Man, we already got a lot of heat from the Dave Chappelle thing on Twitter, and we're scared of the backlash. Could you edit that joke and maybe remove that joke? And creative control. It goes back to creative control. And Schultz is smart, so he gambled. He's like, you know what? How much is it going to cost me to buy back my special? And I'm going to put it out my way. Because he knew fans want the raw, uncut, uncensored.
Yeah. I mean, Chappelle proved that. Mm-hmm. Rogan proved that. I mean, people don't want that. You know, you don't listen to guys like that, or comedy in general, to beat around the bush and hear these lame jokes, right? I mean, it gets old. I mean, if you're not talking the truth, because like the old adage, every what is it? There's truth in every joke, right? There's some sort of truth in every joke.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, it's true, right? Yeah. I mean, and even when you're capping on somebody, bagging on somebody, there's a little truth.
That's why they say it's funny because it's true. And if it ain't true, a lot of times it ain't gonna be funny.
I trip out on that, man. Do you? What was your, as a comedian? What was your take on Chappelle and even Rogan? You know, they came after those two guys hard, and I think both of them are like, you know, Teflon, because nothing stuck, and they seem like they kept going, you know, and they stuck to their guns. I mean, pretty much you do too. What
it is, bro, this is how I could break it down. It's called false narratives. So what people do when they want to make you radioactive or they want to hurt you, they'll just pull out a few little data points. Like, oh, one time Dave 1 had said this. And they'll take it out of context. You know what I mean? And they'll use those few little data points to create a narrative. Because humans, innately, we love stories. We love narrative. You know what I mean? That's how we've been communicating since we was, you know, way back in the day. And basically, man, they try to hit Chappelle with a false narrative of he has transphobic. He's a transphobe, and he's spewing his hate, and it's all fake. And it's like, no, if you listen to the joke, he's basically telling a story about his friend who was trans, who passed away, and it's just a nice story that has, you know, he's a great storyteller.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, there was no hate. He wasn't like, man, I can't stand these trans. Whatever. He was being funny, and it was about his friend who was trans, who basically, I guess, y'all can go watch it. I don't want to spoil, but you know,
yeah.
His friend's name was Daphne, and she committed suicide.
Loved his comedy. Showed up to all his shows. Did all that stuff.
And then Rogan, same thing. They hit him with the false narrative. They took a bunch of little clips out of context. Either he was like quoting. I'm talking about the N-word compilation, right? Either he was quoting the name of a Richard Pryor special, or he was having a discussion with somebody about whatever.
Right.
Long story short, all his real fans that listen to him, they know him as, they get to tune into these long-form conversations. That's the power of podcasting. People can hear these long-form conversations while they're working the forklift, or they're on the treadmill, while they're running errands. You know, they bumping it. Podcasts are blowing up. And all his fans knew that he's just a curious dude who likes to hang out, and he's a smart meathead. He's a jock, and he's a comedian, and he brings his friends, and he interviews scientists. And the reason they started going at him is because he was like, oh, I took this medicine and it helped me. Or I interviewed these guests and they said these things. They said they weren't down with the lockdowns. Or they said that we might want to chill on some of these things that they're pushing on us, right? And just because of that, sas, vámonos. They hit him with it.
It was crazy. I mean, and the funny thing is, it worked for him, right? And normally, if it works in that situation where so much stuff was going wrong, and something worked for somebody, usually you'd gravitate like, oh, that worked. Let's hear that. But right away, it was like, no, that's wrong. You can't use that. And then Dana White goes and does it, same thing. And it's like, wait a minute, maybe this is something that we need to figure out and at least try at this point, because nothing was working at that point.
Yeah, it's because big pharma and these some of these like quote unquote science people that are in the government, they didn't want to entertain the idea of therapeutics and treatments. They wanted to just stick to one thing. Nope, this is what you got to get. We're doing this, and if you go against it, you're racist or whatever.
Yeah,
we'll cancel you. We'll call you an anti-vaxxer. We'll call you something to pressure you to be quiet and go with the flow.
It's so crazy.
We'll call you a coconut.
Yeah. So my thing is this: you weren't always. You got a podcast, Red Pill Tamales, right?
Yeah.
Good podcast, man. Listen to it.
Thank you.
Definitely well put together, man. I kind of inspirational too, man.
Thank you.
So good stuff. But you weren't always. I mean, the term red pilled, and that's probably it's gonna be a buzzword on the shadow banning here. But
the algorithm right now is tripping. It's like, short circuit.
These Mexican guys are saying red pill. What's going on?
Yeah.
But you got red pilled. Is it really red pilled, or it's just because you're a smart guy and you see things? Because when people say red pill, they think like, oh, this guy became a Republican.
Yeah, no,
I
don't even like that label. Yeah.
Right, or this guy became a conservative. I had this dude Joe Bob in here, and he goes, I don't like to give labels to myself. He goes, because once you label it, you're done. Like people's misconception is right on you, right away, and then you're pretty much done. They're just gonna put you to the side because they already labeled you and put you back on the shelf. So, is it really red pilled, or do you just see things for what they are, which is, hey, some rights are being taken away. I like my freedom. I don't want the government in every aspect of my life. I believe in less taxes. Hey, the gas prices should be cheaper.
Yeah. America first, keep God first.
Right.
Family, faith, go to work.
Exactly. Those things. I mean, is it those things more than anything that you saw?
I think it's a combination of things, and I'll just say, because the word red pill, people have connotations to it.
Right.
But basically, when I started looking at things different, I'd have to say it was, like at the beginning of the pandemic, like around that time, lockdown, stuff like that. And I've told this story before, but there's a guy named Scott Adams, he's an author, and he had like a comic strip or whatever. And he was on Rogan. And he actually predicted that Trompitas, the orange one, was going to win back when he was up against Hillary. And I was just like, damn, how did he know? Because he talks a lot about persuasion, right? How people get persuaded and how the brain works and how, messaging or whatever. Right. So I thought that was curious. I was curious about that. So I'm like, man, let me check out one of his books or let me listen to his podcast. That's what it was. So I would tune into his daily live stream, and he was just breaking down how like the media, how they work, how they'll purposely take out context, and how they'll create a narrative and just spin like kind of like propaganda type stuff. Right. And then once he started like debunking a lot of hoaxes, like stuff that I believed just because, man, they said on the news basically, and he was like, look, homeboy didn't really say this. They said he said this, but if you look at the clip, he didn't say that because they cut this out and they just trying to like make him radioactive, whatever. So I was like, damn. So my brain was just like, what the hell? I was like, nah, bro, you're not telling me they wouldn't do that to us. You know what I mean? They're not evil like that. And definitely, man, once I started seeing like how, like even local politics, like where I live, Harris County, Houston, Texas, the county judge, they were on some shut down the businesses, and even our governor, who's Republican, they shut down the whole state. I forget for how long.
Right. He didn't reopen until Florida.
Yeah. Governor Abbott, he waited, I guess, to and I met him. He gave me props. He saw me do some jokes at an event, and but yeah, DeSantis, I don't know what he knew, but he had the stance of like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and open up during spring break, and I know they're gonna say like, you're killing people and you're a grandma killer and all that. Oh my God, so many cases. But you know, they threatened by him because he might be running. And but yeah, that's basically it, man. I just started looking at everything different, like, whoa, man. And then just some of the stuff that like the left is doing, some of this ideology, they just going too far. Where
extreme,
I'm just,
right?
Just too much, like Antifa and all that BLM burning of the cities. You know, they started the act of fool in Houston too, but I don't know who shut that. They shut that shit down. And George Floyd was from the neighborhood where I do my podcast, and where we live. We just moved, but that's where we were in 3rd Ward. And I saw how people were trying to take advantage of that situation. They were trying to make him to be a saint, make him to be a martyr. They were trying to make it like all cops are bad, defund the police, be on the side of the criminals, open up the jails. It was like the craziest conspiracy theory of like all cops are bad, defund the police, and let's be soft on crime, and let's see what pans out. And I'm just like, from a common sense perspective,
take away your guns.
Oh, and they want to and the border's open. You know, it's all kind of fentanyl, human trafficking, child trafficking. You know, what happens at the border don't stay at the border. So, I mean, how many Americans got to die from fentanyl? They lacing everything with it.
It's wild, man.
They caught people on a terrorist watch list sneaking in. It's people be like, oh man, Chingo, what happened, man? I thought you loved Mexicans and all this. It ain't even Mexicans right now. It's people from all over the world right now. And but anyway, going back to the okie doke of like when cities were on fire in 2020, how they were tricking kids on TikTok, which is a Chinese-owned app. Yep. They were tricking kids to be like, you got to put the black square. And that's when I really was peeping game. I was like, whoa, hold on. I'm down with making sure that we eliminate bad cops. I'm down with the idea of you're not supposed to do certain stuff, and let's get down to what really happened and let justice be served. Let's not blame all cops. And when the social pressures of you got to put a black square, you got to put the BLM donation link, which I think all that money went to, you know, bought some mansions, and it went to some politicians. Yeah. And it was just an okie doke, and all the youngsters, you know, like interns or different like people I work with, like video editors, you know what I'm saying? We got youngsters that are good with the tech. And I'd tell them too, they'd be like, yeah, man, I'm going to a rally, bro. And I'd be like, look, man, your heart's in the right place.
Right. But this organization's not right.
Yeah, I was like, look, bro, I would tell them like, it's a thing called Antifa. They mixing in. So you will have some good-hearted black people that I agree. Truly believe, like, hey, man, we're tired, and, you know, why is it always us? And they out there maybe peacefully, and they have First Amendment right to peacefully protest. You have every right. But when you get Antifa mixed in with the umbrellas covering their face, that's a Marxist color revolution. They've done that. They did that in Ukraine. If y'all want to go do a deep dive and just look into these color revolutions. Yep.
Cuba.
Yeah, you know, I think in Colombia, right? In Colombia, they were having these things where they were like, the government's killing us. And then social media and then the hashtag. And then all the artists are like, hey, this is wrong. But I noticed J Balvin stayed out of it because J Balvin was up on game. He knew that was a okie doke. He's like, nah. I mean, I'm reading his mind. I don't know why, but he stayed out of it for a reason because he knew that there were people burning churches. They were like trying to agitate the cops. Same thing with the January 6th thing. And I know we triggering the algorithm, but it's not what they try to make it out to be. Like, man, this is the worst day since 9/11 and the Civil War and Watergate.
Not even close.
It's like, nah, bro, it was just a bunch of people that was mad. It was like 1 million people out there. Most of them were chilling. And then let's not forget, it was some feds mixed in. It was some Antifa and BLM mixed in. And some militia boys that wanted to act a fool. And they got let in. And the mayor purposely didn't want no security. They did not have enough security, not even for a small gathering. No. They invited them in. They let them in. It's a lot of fishy stuff going on. But that's all it is, bro. I just like to... It's interesting to me. I feel like the stakes are high. I feel that... I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, a lot of people that were like, man... You know, we better not ever see you in Cali or whatever. Everybody that was talking tough, Now they seeing the gas price. Now they seeing we back at war. Everything I said your taxes gonna go up.
Yeah.
I said we gonna be back at war. They gonna be back to business as usual.
The crazy thing is this. You think about, let's just say, Hispanic culture, Mexican, Latino, right? Traditionally, we are more conservative.
Yeah.
Right? Hardworking. Just let me do my thing.
Yeah, faith.
I want to make a living. Faith, family. You know, there's a hierarchy in families. You got the father, the mother, the kids, and they just want to come here.
Traditions, yeah.
And that's what I tell people a lot of times. It's like, it's not about the label, but it's just like, what do you have here when you come? Like you have an opportunity. You know, it's a family oriented country, and you could do it right. And if you have, the Hispanic culture is about faith, about working hard,
mind your business,
just go to work,
take care of your stuff.
You know, we see it all the time, and so I always say, like, to the generation that came here from Mexico, they're a little bit more like respectful, or any of those families that come here from another country. That's why everybody's trying to come here, right?
Everybody, people from Africa. I mean, people like the whole narrative of like, man, it's a racist country and, you know, it's evil. It's like, bro, why is everybody trying to come? And like what you were just describing, like, look, man, most people, you know, they're level-headed. They just want to put food on the table and clothes on the kids' back, make sure the kids got education and they don't get involved in trouble. Simple, basic stuff, human, just regular stuff. But instead, they trying to, like, say, like, nah, y'all Latinx. They try to sell you victimhood. They try to say you're marginalized.
And who made that up, Latinx, bro?
Probably white liberals.
Do you like that?
No.
Who likes
probably
that?
White liberals, yeah. I'm assuming. Basically, what they do, bro, is they have these think tanks, and they get people. I don't know how they brainstorm or what, but they meet up and they come up with their little agenda, and they try to figure out how they're gonna keep getting votes and keep getting power, so they can keep getting that shmoney.
Right.
So basically, it's like, here's the play. You know, just keep. It's called identity politics and intersectionality. It's these little theories, right? It's theories that happen in these in colleges and stuff that a lot of times, bro, you know, when you have a bad idea in the real world, like for example, liquid death. Let's just say this mountain water right here in the can. Let's just say somebody comes up with an idea of like, yo, we gotta, you know, take the gold off the top and you know, this logo's scary with the melted face, the skull, you know, take that off or whatever. And it's like, okay, we'll test your idea, but if it doesn't work commercially in the marketplace, we gonna go back to the drawing board. That's how it is in the real world. You gotta have good ideas. But what happens in academia and these colleges with this Latinx stuff and these theories and like, no, we need to defund the police and all these crazy theories, they're bad ideas. A lot of times they don't work economically. And what happens? People who put them ideas out, they get a raise, they get a position in the government, they keep it moving. So in no other place could a bad idea survive except for this system which we have. It's like, oh, it's this professor. He wrote a book talking about you can't just not be racist. You have to be anti-racist. And there's white fragility and white tears, and you got to have white guilt. And we're going to separate the kids in the class. If you're black, you stand over here and you're a victim, and all the white kids got to apologize, and we're going to have a little parade in the hallway. And it's like, whatever happened to a lot of these kids can't even read or write. A lot of them they suck at math. And now they're saying, why 2 + 2, you know, could equal 5. And it's like, bro, stop.
Bad idea. Bad idea. I knew it was bad ideas when they talked about defunding the police. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. Like, I think people in general want safety, right? Mm-hmm, yeah. They want to feel safe in their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody does. They want to feel safe. Your kids can play outside. I don't got to worry about them being kidnapped or being shot or whatever like that, right? So when they say defund the police, I'm like, well, for me, I was like, well, who are you going to call? Mm-hmm. Because you can't fight. Mm-hmm. You don't have no guns. Mm-hmm. You're soft.
Yeah, it creates a power vacuum.
You know what I mean? So what are you saying here? You're just going to be a victim? It's not going to work.
Yeah, and that's why they try to trick people into thinking like, you know, like what you said, most people want police in the community. So that if the grandma gets her purse snatched, you call somebody you could call, unless you're going to take the law into your hands and be a vigilante like you Batman or somebody. Might want to file a report and pull up the cameras, and then we can see who it was. But they done tricked a handful of people, a certain percentage of the population, to believe that, nah, man, they hunting us, bro. LeBron James tweeted that every day, you know, if you got a certain color skin, bro, they hunting you. It's like, no, that's not what it is. What it is that type of rhetoric is going to make it more dangerous for black folk or people of color, because now you're on edge. Now you got pulled over. Now you're scared, and you're thinking they coming to hunt you. The cop's scared too. He's calling for backup. Yeah. You know, now he got to approach your car a certain way. Now it's just tense, and it was all over a little fucking traffic ticket. Excuse my language.
Yeah, I mean, you go in on people like LeBron, Eva Longoria.
Oh yeah. I let her
George Lopez, all these people, right? You go in on them because the problems that the everyday working guy has is not their problem.
Yeah, no.
And the way they talk is it doesn't match who they're talking to. Like they're you know, they say things that they don't have no clue how things work, you know, west of or east of Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't work that way. Why do you go in so hard on those people?
Okay, I'll tell you why. And right now I'll just focus on Eva Longoria. And I'm not trying to pick on her. No. You know what I mean? I don't have no malice in my heart, but however, she did put in some money with George Soros. They spent, I think, 60 to 80 million to buy up some radio stations and flip them into Latino talk news radio, basically propaganda to push the Latinx and the defund the police, and basically like walls are racist, open borders are going to be better for your community, which I was Mr. They can't deport us all. I didn't know about the rape trees back then. I didn't know about the child trafficking. I was just thinking like, yo, I don't like how Fox News being mean to Mexicans. Right. That's all I knew, and that was going to be my agenda. But, you know, Eva, she put in some bread with George Soros and them so they can, you know, she's a business lady. I'm sure she did it for a reason that's going to help her, but it's going to further push the idea of victimhood. Latinos, you need to go by Latinx. You're people of color. This country's going through a racial reckoning. You need to align yourself more with the side of George Floyd and things like that. Because the Vanessa Guillen, the army, the young lady who was killed in my state, she was right there from my side of town, from my neighborhood, like the southeast side. I remember. And, you know, it broke our heart. You know, my wife reached out to the family like, hey, you know, what's going on? What's the goal? What's the agenda? How could we help? Not allow for one of her rallies to get taken over by Antifa, which they were planning on doing. Not to allow them to try to bundle her up with because there's murals where it'll be George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Vanessa Guillen, and it's like y'all trying to cram three different murders.
Three different.
One's about no knock warrants. You know, one is about police brutality. This one's about corruption on a military base. And not to mention that the Chinese consulate in Houston has been shut down for 2 years because they were using spies, and they burned up a bunch of documents once they got caught because they were helping Antifa and BLM basically help with the Marxist revolution at the street level. Black bloc, color revolution style. That's just how they work. They go in. They have different names in all the different countries. In Chile, it's all the same agenda, which is tear down, transform, destroy, with us in charge. But anyway, okay, I was talking about Eva Longoria. All right, so I mentioned the thing with the radio stations. I mean, the radio station money, George Soros. So Eva Longoria. All right.
Might as well be.
So Eva Longoria, anytime it's like 4th of July, stuff like that, which just passed, I like to go try and see, did she say happy 4th of July? She don't have to. People don't have to be on social media every day. However, I knew, and I was right, that whatever she did post, it was not going to be pro-America, happy 4th of July. Because right now there's an agenda of trying to make it to where if you celebrate 4th of July, we're going to try to call you racist. Like,
it's so
they're trying to cancel
man.
it. There's a lot of people that want to cancel it. So she posted on her Instagram. She's like, "Here's a recipe. I made these margaritas for your long weekend." And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I predicted, that it was going to be, stay cool out there, folks. A long weekend. It wasn't going to be anything about happy 4th of July, Independence Day, freedom, red, white, and blue. No. It's just your long weekend. That's it. We're going to drop it down. Could it have been a simple mistake? I say no, because someone at her level, they got a whole team. They got a staff. It's a production. Right. Her Instagram is worth money. Every post is worth money. It's not something that's willy-nilly back burner. It's no, that's part of the brand.
Yeah.
Especially this day and age.
It's crazy that we could try to cancel 4th of July. And especially somebody like that, where they've benefited so much from this country. I talk so much about there's no other country that you can do the things you can do here. Mm-hmm. If there was, then people would move there. Mm-hmm. But they don't move. They just complain. And those people in those positions complain about stuff they have no business complaining about.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah. When I went to college, they had the sociology department, and the main professor there, she was always trying to recruit me to be under the sociology, which, I think the main reason I didn't want to do it, because I'm like, so what's my job going to be? You know what I mean? Like, how do I make money off that? But it was easy for me because I kind of knew how they wanted me to think. So, for example, they'll give us the definition of a gang, right? They'll be like, all right, so here's some of the bullet points of definition of a gang. And then she'd stand in front of the class and she'd be like, so with this definition, what's the biggest gang in America? And I'd be like, the police. And she'd be like, Pedro, yes, good. And all the white kids are like, how the hell the police and the biggest gang in America? I'm like, because I know how she thinks and I know how she's trying to make us think. I remember one time she passed out this worksheet that was, it was basically said, check off which drug you've tried. It's all anonymous. You didn't have to put your name. But it was like, check whatever drug you've tried, coke, crack, weed, heroin, whatever, alcohol, whatever. And then it also said, which ones would you never touch no matter what? Like, you just zero, put a zero, like, no, thank you. And then she'd go up there and she'd do her spiel. She'd be like, okay, I see a lot of y'all, some of y'all have tried cocaine, but you also said you'd never try crack. And she's like, that's funny, because pharmaceutically, it's the same thing. It's just one's more concentrated. They add baking soda. They base it up. They rock it up. And then she started going in about the crack laws, Joseph Biden, the crack laws, where she was like, it's fun. She was trying to make it like a race thing, which probably to some effect probably did have some hold some weight, because she was saying they know who does coke
and who does crack.
And so with this, if it's pharmaceutically the same, if you get caught with X amount of coke, you're only gonna get this much time, this much probation, whatever. If you get caught with the quarter, and there's a video of Biden doing that, this much. She's like, if you get caught with like just this much rock, she's like, you instantly doing X amount of time out the gate, minimum, no matter what. And now look, fast forward, since we on the issue of crime or whatever, bro, they just recalled the DA from San Francisco, Boudin, whatever his name is. And because, hey man, no offense, but bro, San Francisco has transformed so much. I think the last time I was out there, I witnessed for myself, like, yo, they really got doodle on the sidewalk.
It's bad.
It's like these crackhead, whatever they are, fentanyl hit, I don't know what they're on, heroin, and it's just homelessness, filth, and I'm like, damn. So basically, y'all incentivizing these people, y'all encouraging, y'all inviting these people, y'all letting them, y'all decriminalize everything. They could run up into Walgreens, walk out with $1,000 worth of stuff, and you creating chaos, and it's all part of the playbook. And sure enough, Garcon, right? That's his name? Gascon. My bad. That's French. Gascon in LA, DA, soft on crime. Yeah. He started in San Francisco. Newsom saw him, was like, hey man, you got what it takes. I like the way you work. Brought him down here, and you give everybody that had an enhancement, like You commit a crime, and for everything, like, okay, it was violent, you had a weapon, or you was gang affiliated, whatever. They throwing enhancements. Here's 5 years extra for that, 5 years extra for that. All that went away. So the homies was happy, you know.
Crimes that were committed with a gun, he got rid of that. That was huge, man. I mean, that's if you're committing crimes with a gun, that's taking it to a whole nother level. So he said, "Nah, we're gonna take that enhancement away."
And how did he justify it? He basically said, and here we go back to these bad ideas that make no sense. So meanwhile, you got the sheriff saying, "Hey, man, this is not working. This don't make no sense."
Villanueva.
Meanwhile, Gascon is basically saying, well, you know, statistically in the data, and if you look at the data, if you look at the trends, you know, there's a thing called, you know, white privilege or whatever, and these people marginalized, they've been oppressed, and, you know, if you look at slavery, and you know, just throwing in whatever they could throw in, just to be like, we got to look at the root causes of why this kid did the drive-by or snatched the purse or raped the person, right? And there was this video, it was kind of messed up. It was a lady in Venice Beach, and I guess where she lived, she had her little stroller with her 8-month-old baby, and it's like a little alleyway, it looks like, from the camera footage. And she's like the Lululemon, the yoga mom with the Bob stroller, and she had the 8-month-old, and she's just going down the little alley, and there's other cars, there's people, it's the morning, people doing construction. Then here comes a Toyota Prius, who it was stolen, we found out later, by like a teenage kid. Well, either he don't know how to drive, or he's distracted, or he purposely tried to run them over. But he pretty much went straight to her, and she couldn't go nowhere because there's a wall, and it's coming straight for the stroller. She's like trying to lift the stroller, and then she hits her head on the windshield. She's all on the hood, rolls off the car. The Prius tries to drive off. A pickup truck blocks him in. There's all kind of witnesses. They gave that kid like a few months in like a juvie summer camp.
It's crazy.
And the lady was like, this ain't what I voted for.
Right. Do you think that people are starting to wake up more to this whole mess that's being created, where you're so far, because you can never be woke enough. Let's just get that out there, right?
Oh yeah,
you can never, even within the church realm, right? So not to get into the abortion thing, which I heard you talk about that. I thought your points were excellent, based on the Constitution. Which was, it's not in the Constitution, and this is the way it needs to be. So I felt that, but even within the church realm, like you can never be woke enough. Like being a believer, I'm not for abortion, right? There's no gray there. Mm-hmm. So then I had like believers like, well, you know, then we need to help these women then, which I agree. The church has always been helpful to mothers and women and less fortunate. So, you know, then I was thinking like, then when you start helping those women, right? Then the next thing to be extra woke is going to be like, well, we got to start delivering the babies too. You know, it just gets out of control. Yeah. Like you can never be woke enough. You get something and then it's like, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. I saw today there was this coffee shop, and it was like in you know, all the alphabet letters, coffee shop, right? And they shut it down because first they decided they're going to be the alphabet letter coffee shop. Okay, so they played into that, right? And then the alphabet came after them and said that you need to start donating and redistributing.
Oh, communism.
Your profits.
Oh yeah, communism.
So here was a company that probably thought, our little coffee shop, little owner, like, okay, let me bow to the woke. Maybe they weren't bowing. Maybe in the beginning they weren't. Yeah,
that's like the stores that put like, hey, we're down with BLM, and they still tore your shit up. Yeah, they still burned it down.
I mean, there's never, you can never be woke enough, man. And that's the thing. I think people don't realize, like, at one point in time, you got to make a stand, right? You got to stand up for really what you believe in, not for yourself, for your children, for the future of this country, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah. And speaking of the abortion thing, so like you mentioned, the main reason it got overturned, the Roe v. Wade, it was from a legal constitutional aspect, which is the federal government can't tell all these 50 individual states what to do, because we have this thing called federalism where people can vote with their feet. And if you don't like how things are in Texas, you can move to Louisiana or wherever, right? And then you have the moral argument, which, bro, I saw this movie called Unplanned. Have you heard of that movie?
I heard of it. Yeah.
It's about this lady named Abby Johnson, who is from Bryan, College Station, Texas. Very conservative, super Bible Belt part of Texas, right? And her parents were super conservative, pro-life. And then, and I don't want to give away the whole movie, but I highly recommend it. Long story short, she went on to be like Employee of the Year for Planned Parenthood, and she was there for years. I think it was like over 20,000 abortions went down under her watch. Wow. And she tried to justify it in her head over and over again as like, well, we're giving women reproductive health care, and these are services, and we're assisting. But there are some foul things with Planned Parenthood. For example, if an underage girl comes in pregnant with arguably, could be her pimp brought her in, it could be her older boyfriend that brought her in, or it could have been somebody at home raped her, whatever. Right. And Planned Parenthood will be like, we don't ask no questions. We're here for to help we're here for the services and provide the service. And it's like, it's an abortion. Like, you calling it reproductive health, you calling it services. And the part that I want people to really really peep game is all the myths, the propaganda, the spin, and the lies. That's when my mind was blown. Because up until recently, I was like, well, I'm sure there's situations where, it's very unfortunate, and I'm sure it's rare, but like if a woman's raped, and, what if it's like some incest stuff, or, there's these scenarios that people throw out there, which are like less than 1%. And even then, there's other options. Yeah. But there's just a lot of lies. Like, if a woman has this issue, then the treatment is abortion, and if you take that away, women are gonna die. Like, Hillary Clinton will sit up there and lie to your face on TV and say women are gonna die, and it's like, no, bro. What it is some people taking it to an extreme, even where in some states they allow you to pull up 9 months pregnant, baby due,
or after birth,
and even after birth,
infanticide.
Yeah, infanticide. Well, like, I know the governor of Virginia was like, they asked him on the radio station about their policy, and he's like, well, if it doesn't go through all the way, like, they don't kill the baby all the way, and he or she lives, and we keep them comfortable. That's how he said it. We keep we keep them comfortable, meaning we keep them alive a little bit so the mom can help them decide, what you want us to finish what we started, or what we doing.
Wild, man. And that's just evil.
Yeah, super evil. And some people, like, when you ask people on the streets, I've seen clips of like man on the street where they're like, hey, so some people are proposing that up to the baby could be 2 years old, like a little toddler, like mama dada, like teta, already saying stuff. Do you think even then it should be the woman's choice, woman's right? And then they'll straight up, some people are so deranged, they'll straight up to your face be like, if that's what's gonna make the woman, it's the woman's choice, it's her body. Right. And it's like, separate DNA, y'all shared the body for a little while. There was a placenta, this temporary organ. That's how the baby ate off you. But the baby had its own DNA. And, I look at it like, somebody got to speak up for the unborn. And now we know. Like, there's a scene in the movie where at the Planned Parenthood, there's a young lady who's like, but is my baby going to feel anything? And I don't want him to hurt. Da, da, da. And they lie to him. They'll be like, oh, no. They'll say, all the research, all the experts agree that at this phase, baby don't feel nothing. Don't worry. Give us the money. And do you know, bro, that where I grew up on the southeast side of Houston is the largest Planned Parenthood in America. It looks like a cash register. It's like steps. It's like a big-ass building. I think they're about to shut it down. But it's the largest one in America. It's a multi-million-dollar facility. Oh, yeah. I mean, they crank out, the women in and out, and it's right between the black neighborhood and the Mexican neighborhood.
They always are,
because the founder was racist.
Margaret Sanger.
And
that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, I'll give the moral argument because I'm a Christian, so I'll give the moral argument. But then I'm like, if they're not listening to that, I say, well, do you know who was the founder of that? On top of that, so I bring out the Margaret Sanger thing, and then I say, Planned Parenthood's funded,
Bill Gates, who else?
Subsidized too by the government. $500 million goes there. That's my tax dollars. Why should my tax dollars go to them? And then they use that money they get to what? to fund politicians to run for office, right? So they're using.
Oh yeah, plan. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
That's I never thought of it like that.
They use that.
They're subsidized by our tax dollars, and then Planned Parenthood turns around and funds the Democratic Party,
right?
And politicians on that
politicians
side.
that are for that abortion. And then the other thing is, it's probably closing in your area, right? Because they're gonna, it's Texas, they're gonna shut it down, right? So if they were for women's health, and they always say that it's that abortion is only a small percentage of what they do. That's what they
lie.
They wouldn't be closing down.
Exactly.
If it was only a small percentage.
It's a lie. It's like 95% of what they do is that. But they have to, they got to lie, bro. The devil is busy lying. That's another thing, bro. The reason I get a kick talking about all this stuff, and I know it's deep and I know it's heavy. Some people are like, man, Chingo, you supposed to talk about Cleto right now and the tamales and the rooster and where you had at? Where's the grill? But it, to me, the way the devil works and how they lie, and that alone is fascinating. Of like, yo, so basically you're playing with words. You calling it reproductive health and reproductive rights, and now you get these little college girls that are like, how dare you, women's choice and my body. A lot of these people that say my body, my choice, they weren't trying to hear it when people didn't want the jab, and they were saying my body, my choice. Exactly.
I mean, that was a perfect example, man. That was a perfect example. Everybody got to get the jab. Everybody got to wear a mask. You can't do this. You can't do that. But my body, my choice.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I wanted to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too much. Yeah, we're gonna talk politics. I mean, a little bit of politics, a little bit of current issues.
Sure.
But a father of 3 girls.
Yeah.
Any of them play sports?
Yeah, my 4-year-old's in jiu-jitsu. I see your sticker, bro. You do jiu-jitsu?
I do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I heard you started rolling.
I just started. Yeah, I'm a white belt, no stripes. Know what I'm talking about?
I got a purple belt, a few stripes.
That's nice. Good.
Man,
hell yeah. I'm gonna catch up to you one day, big dog.
Let's do it.
So yeah, she's doing really good, bro. And then my smallest baby, she's only 11 months, so she ain't doing nothing yet. But she does her little exercises. Like, she gets in her walker, and she doesn't touch the ground. She'll like rock her legs back and forth. She'll start sweating. And my wife is super athletic. She did like a bodybuilding competition.
I seen you guys working out. I see you guys working out.
She's super athletic, bro. Like, they get all that from her. Like, she's tough, she's strong.
Okay, with that said, males competing against females. I mean, I couldn't, it'd be fun, just to see where your daughter's at, let her roll against a young boy, whatever, right? But when they get to the competing age, where men are just physically strong, that's the way God made us. It's a fact. I mean, Chappelle said that too. It's a fact.
They got mad too.
They got mad.
They don't want you to say there's a difference between men and women. They got mad at Macy Gray recently because she said something. They got mad at
was it Bette Midler?
Bette Midler also,
too, right?
Bette Midler. The lady, J.K. Rowling is her name, the lady that wrote Harry Potter.
Yeah.
They tried to cancel her about 3-4 times, but she's too damn rich. And
there's a few athletes that
spoke
up,
it's just common sense. And I say it on stage. I say it on stage all the time, and people clap. And I'm like, all I did was say a basic fact that was super accepted 6 months ago. But what happens is you get this mind virus, this like groupthink narrative, and we all got to go along with it. So this subject is fascinating to me on a few levels. One of which is like all the raza that can't comprehend some, like, where I'm coming from. They can't wrap their brain around like, whoa, bro, you sound everything you saying. I've been taught that's racist, and I can't imagine you're the tan face of white supremacy or whatever, right? and it's like, okay, how about this issue? Like, do you feel that biological males should be able to beat up on a woman in an MMA cage, or swim? Like, that whole Title IX is the topic of like women's sports. That's come a long way. Like, right. they had to fight. Women had to fight just to be able to have a damn league of their own. And now we all got to go along with this idea that, well, if you just identify, like I posted something on my Twitter account. it was from Canada. It said missing woman, goes by this name, age, whatever, and it's a dude with a mustache and everything. So how could you tell somebody, hey man, there's a missing woman? Can you describe what she looked like? He got a mustache.
She looks like my Theo.
He got short hair and he's got face tats. You know what I mean? And I wonder how like some of the raza, like with the Latinx stuff, like just the extreme stuff, if they at least be like, all right, well, I agree with Chingo on some of these things.
And I think that's one that I think most people didn't really argue with me about. You know what I mean? Because I was like, look, man, it's just unfair. The MMA thing was like ridiculous.
She's super crazy.
Dude was like cracking women's skulls, like, you know, and it was a fact. It was, and Dana came out. I was like, never in our league. That's it.
Yeah, Dana got some sense, bro.
But because it doesn't make it doesn't make sense. I saw some skaters the other day. This girl, you know, skateboarder. She competed. She spoke out about it. She got some flack, but she got a lot of props too, because she was saying, like, you know, because of that male competing with them, like one girl got left off the podium. She lost money, like half the money that she would have won, because she was the top female, biological female in there. She should have won. So it gets out of control. I think most parents, especially parents of girls, are gonna say, nah, you want to do that? You start your own league then. Yeah. Transgender league over here. Yeah. Male, female league over there. I mean,
yeah, and then it gets worse, bro. I don't know if you heard the one about it was Loudoun County, Virginia, where basically
the prison?
No, high school.
Okay.
So basically they went along with the charade of, like, if you're a dude and you in a skirt and you say you identify as female, you're allowed to use the girls' locker rooms and restrooms. So an actual biological female got raped, I believe more than once, but at least once, right? It might be once or twice. Basically got raped by this dude, biological male, in a skirt, who just identified as female in the restroom. So now her father showed up to the school board thing, you know, where you can go up or whatever. And he was basically saying, you know, my daughter was in this situation because we all knew what y'all's little rules were going to lead to. Well, he ends up getting arrested and pulled out in cuffs for being unruly. So basically the dad of the daughter who got raped, he's the one that's in cuffs. And now here it gets worse, because now basically this administration, they just made a rule where they said, if you're a school and you collect federal funding like lunch money, you know, if we give y'all bread, right, from the government for being a public government school, basically, you have to go along with the pronouns and the restrooms. And they said, I think it gets worse than that, where it's like, if the parent doesn't call their kid by the right pronoun or gender, and doesn't acknowledge their new name that was probably given to them at school by these woke teachers, now they can call CPS. You can have a social worker all up in your house doing an investigation on your household and what kind of abuse you're doing to your child because you're not going along with this. Now, maybe at that point, maybe Raza might start being like, okay, some of this stuff.
Yeah, out of control. Yeah, man. Let me ask you this, man, before we get out of here, but comedy. It's got to be the roughest business to get into. I mean, you could have stuck to the music thing. You could have probably done the acting thing. But comedy, to get up there.
I've said too many things about Latino Hollywood to where it, but go on, finish.
No, maybe Danny Trejo will hire you for something. Somebody will hire you for something.
Yeah,
you
somewhere.
Yeah,
one day. Now go on.
But before you got red pilled, you could have got into the acting thing. You got into the comedy thing. Comedy's got to be the hardest form of entertainment because it's you by yourself, and people have their arms crossed.
No backup dancers, no DJ, no beat,
music, no throw your hands in the air, no
single
nothing.
lady say "ow,"
nothing.
Now
like
scream! I'm telling you what to do. Now laugh.
That's the go-to, right? If you start bombing on your music set,
all the single ladies laugh,
right? but people go. People be at your show tonight. Hands crossed, make me laugh.
Yeah, but you know what? I got a good crowd. I mean, my audience, they're ready to laugh. They came ready to laugh. They know, you know what I mean? Like, these are the folks and I always do a cheers at the beginning of my show, like, and I pretty much say, if you got to put a drink in your hand right now, and I say, I pretty much say, like, look, we don't got to agree on everything, but props to y'all for wanting to come out, you know, out here in Ontario, have a good time, and we just gonna have a great time. You know what I mean? Like, basically giving them props for still being open-minded and be like, I might not agree with everything Chingo says.
And that's fine.
Yeah, right? But guess what? You gonna get about 3,000 laughs before the night's over. We did the math one time.
I think that's that's where we used to be, right? We don't have to agree. We don't agree on politics. We might not believe in faith. We might not believe in this, but we can talk about it civilly. We can laugh about it. We can still go to work together, go to school together.
Not be triggered and sensitive and offended.
Yeah, unfollow you now.
Yeah.
I
need a safe space.
Yeah, you know, I'm reporting you.
How dare you?
But I think comedy is what we're missing. You know, and has the wokeness affected your comedy?
Well, I'll say this, man. I say during my show too, I'll be like, man, props to the club for keeping stand up alive, which is an American-made art form. It was invented here, and I always say, like, I think it's our job as comedians not only to roast and talk ish, but also see how free we really are. We need to find comedians, the good ones. We have to try to find what you're not allowed to say, what's the line you can't cross, what's too far. And it's like, can we talk about alopecia? Like, can you talk about Bruno? Can you make a Jada Pinkett joke? Like, in other words, how did some people all of a sudden become a protected class? And like, how did our free society? It's all, bro. Like, I tell some
especially amongst comedians, which free reign. Everywhere you guys go, because why? He's a comedian. He's gonna bag on me. He's gonna say something about that maybe I wouldn't like, but it's funny. It's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this job, bro. I mean, shout out to my fans and the new fans too. Like, just having my back 20 years from music onto this, and it's a cool art form because, like you said, we can't hide behind a beat. We can't hide behind backup dancers. Like, if you're not, like, in other words, if you're not rocking the crowd, like if you on some MC type shit, like if your jokes ain't hitting, we know, because it's quiet and it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. You know, right? So It's like, just like if a rapper's up there, like, you know, okay, do they know the hook? Are their hands up? Are they singing along? Like, are they crunk? Are they excited? Whatever. It's like with comedy, it's like, if we don't hear them laughs coming, obviously Dave Chappelle and some other ones, sometimes they're storytellers and they setting you up and then there's a payoff at the end. But comedy's one of those things where, like, you get exposed real fast.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, that is probably the hardest form of entertainment. If you could sing, you got a good voice, you can sing, get away with that. If you could play an instrument, cool. You can act, you don't even have to be a good actor, but what's his name comes out in all those Fast and Furious?
Oh yeah, Noel G. Yeah.
You know, you could be a decent actor and make a living, but if you're a comic and you don't get laughs, man, it's a done deal. It's over. You can't fake it.
Yeah. That's interesting how you said that. How an actor can get away with, like, well, you know, because when movies, it's an ensemble. It's the script, it's the production, it's the editing. There's other actors. It's not all on you. But yeah, stand up. It reminds me of jiu-jitsu as well, because, you know, sometimes you're in situations where you got to stay calm. You got to think creative, and stuff happens. It's curveballs. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like last night in Irvine, it was a dude looked just like Jesus, right here to my right. So through the whole show, I was like, Jesus, come on, bro. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you was a carpenter, big dog. You already know this stage ain't made properly or whatever. I just kept going back to him. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can't prepare. I did a show in Dallas. In Abilene, Texas. And I was doing a joke about the club and, you know, twerking and all this stupid stuff. And this chick started, like, hopping up on her table and twerking and all this, and I looked and I was like, do you know who Ruth from Ozark?
Yeah.
She has, like, Justin
curly
Timberlake.
hair,
yeah. And I was like, bro, as I'm up there, I'm thinking in my head, because I'm, you know, and I was like, damn, we got Ruth from Ozark in the building, you know. I was like, season 5, she's a stripper now. And I was like, if you want me to stop twerking, you gonna have to kill me. Boy, I could have just ended right there. It hit so hard. And it's one of those where you're like, damn, damn, hopefully that I could recreate that. But you can't. There's not going to be a Ruth in every audience.
Right.
So, you know, it's cool.
Do you see the joke before it comes out?
Well, we have a script. Yeah.
Sometimes, no, what I mean is like do you like chuckle to yourself? Like sometimes I'll get on a good one. Like we were talking the other day about this lady that used to play the piano in our church, and she was blind, right? And so she left her husband. So I made a little joke amongst our little friends. I was like, yeah, she was looking, she caught her husband looking at some other woman.
Yeah.
And then everybody would pause for a second, right? And then they're like, shut up, like a second later.
Yeah.
So I'm already thinking the next joke, right? And the next joke was, you know, she put out an album.
Yeah.
She did, huh? Yeah. Remember she had that cassette when we were little and they used to sell it at the church? Yeah. I go, but yeah, I heard she had a dark past though. And then everybody was rolling, right? But in my mind, I'm thinking like, this is funny.
You thinking
like,
what else I could say?
This is gonna. Are you thinking ahead or just boom?
Well, yeah, because even though you have a script, a good portion, you have to allow room for what's the word? Improvisation. You got to. Otherwise, it's kind of stale. But if it's like fresh and in the moment, and you're connected with the audience, it's something crazy that happens. Where it's like a zone, bro. Where like once everything's just rolling, and you throwing in a fresh in the moment performance, all the ad libs. That's when the people are just like, bro, oh my god, like stop, my face hurts, and then they leave, and then you see the comments. It's just like, yo, the dude in the red shirt, man, y'all was roasting him or whatever.
What's more important for a comic? Let me ask you this: is it delivery or content?
Oh, that's a great question because it reminds me of the rap game where styles matter and delivery and your flow matters. I think it depends on your style. Like a lot of urban comics, you know, like Kevin Hart, a lot of these fools got a delivery. You know, like, you know, you could say literally anything as long as you say it in the way that, you know, and it's just like, oh shit, it's already
Chris Tucker.
Yeah, all these fools, Chris Rock. I mean, and you know, a lot of the mainstream different style, a lot of the white comics, they got delivery too. They're known for, but I think it's just a combination, man. It's got to be 50-50 at least.
Really?
Yeah, you got to have both.
Yeah. I think I like the delivery and timing. I'm like, man, because I could hear a joke, and you know, sometimes you hear the same joke with comics. I know that's a no, but you're like, I heard that before. And I think there's a certain comedian that used to do that.
Oh yeah,
right?
some unoriginal stuff.
But I think if you say in the delivery, like he said that wrong, or he should have paused a little bit in between. I think sometimes you could say the same joke. I'll say the same joke. You say the same joke. It's gonna be funnier from you because you got that little style, or you got a little pause here. So I always say like delivery.
Yeah, like exactly. Like a lot of times people say like, man, comedy cannot be taught. I think it can be for the most part, because you could coach people. You could be like, all right, check it out, Dave. The way you told that joke, you said that extra line at the wrong time because they were still laughing at the last thing you said, and you stepped on your own punchline. Or, hey, you fumbled the word, you rearranged the words, and it's not going to hit the same. It has to like, bop, that word got to be at the end, and that's what does it. Or it might be your act out. You know, it might be like the facial expression or what you do physically. You know, man, you forgot to do the thing with the mic stand. Remember, that was part of it, you know? And those are all the things that are in your toolkit. It's like MMA, fool, mixed martial arts, big dog.
So you like jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I love jiu-jitsu. I love it.
It's cool, huh? I tell people, just try it. It'll change your life.
It's amazing, bro.
There's a lot of parallels with jiu-jitsu and life. That's what I tell people all the time. Like it's hard. Like you realize you don't know nothing, and then when you do learn something, you realize I still don't know nothing. This is like a constant evolvement. Yeah. It pushes you. Like I would come home. I still come home thrash. 48 years old, trying to roll with young dudes, and I come home thrash. And my wife's like, "Why do you do this?" There's something about getting in there, and even if you get beat up, choked out, that close to death, right? You feel good when you come out.
Oh yeah,
something about it.
Yeah, it's like primal. Might be like some type of tribal type of vibe, but it's a super awesome art form, man. I mean, for one, Helio Gracie, he was known for being like a runt, and he took the Japanese jiu-jitsu system and adapted it Brazilian style, BJJ. And I know you know this, but to the people listening, and you're able to use leverage and all these different things. Like, okay, well, this is how your elbow work. If I do this, you're gonna tap. Or for example, like people that are good at striking. Like, okay, yeah, you could box, but the minute somebody shoots for the double leg, or they now you're on the ground. Now you have no kinetic energy. You can't produce force for that awesome hook, that jab you got. How you gonna jab with both of your shoulders pinned to the ground? Yeah. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's just like math. It's like physics and math, and it's crazy.
And I always tell people like that are really smart. I always tell them, do jujitsu,
like chess,
because I feel like cerebral people do really well in jujitsu, man. Like if you're a nerd, like jujitsu is it, bro. Like you're a smart dude, so I can see how you can kind of get.
I can't wait to get to that level where you're setting people up, where it's kind of I'm gonna reach for your collar so that you could do this, but really what I'm doing is I'm gonna sweep you and then I'm gonna do this
2 steps ahead.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to that point. I'm just in survival mode, pacing my energy and
defense all day. That's it. Defense, win the small battles. That's it.
Yeah, the new gym I signed up at, man, it's in a warehouse, a bodega, and it's like humid in Houston, and they just got the bay doors open. Nice. And I'm not ready. The warm up alone is like,
especially in the gi, man.
Oh no, they moved to no gi.
Okay,
that's how hot it
during
is.
Summer, yeah.
That's how hot it is.
Yeah. We move back and forth. I'm more no gi. You know what I mean? I figure, I know everybody's gonna get mad out there, but I figure it's kind of real world. No gi, right? I mean, nobody's gonna walk around with a
pajamas.
The pajamas on. Maybe a jacket, but if you're in the street and it's just wearing a t-shirt, it's it's kind of on and cracking right there.
Yeah, and when I first got into it, because I'm super green, I'm new. I tour. That's why I don't want to tour as much next year, bro. I just want to stay put.
That's dope.
And I really want to focus on what I want to do too. I mean, I love touring, but it's just a lot of moving around. And what was I going to say? So when I first got into it, I started looking at things different. Like, you're just in a social setting. Like, it's not even no beef. You're not even in a club. You're just like chilling somewhere, and you might be on a half edible or something, but you just like walking around and you just in Target or something. You're like, okay, yeah, buddy got on that hoodie, so if he gets out of hand, that's, you know what I mean? Or he's got that fanny pack like this, I'm yanked that, and it's like, bro, there's nothing. It's like, you never know.
Yeah. See that? Especially you can add that to your comedy routine right there. That's a good part. I want to have
right there. I want to have a couple bits about jiu-jitsu for sure.
That'd be dope.
Like getting tapped out by a girl and stuff like that.
Kobe, that close to death. We always play that. We're playing that close to death, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I gotta head out Ontario Improv tonight, and I appreciate the love. We finally made it happen. I'm down to come back on the show, man.
We'll do it.
If you're ever in Texas, hit us up.
I will.
And I love all the art, man.
I appreciate that,
especially I'm peeping it.
Dope. We got one more thing, man. We got one more thing, real quick. Me and Cam call this, the Furious 5.
Okay.
And we ask you like 5 furious questions, man. We got a little music here.
For sure.
It's really quick.
Yeah, because I got a little baby bladder too. And
I got you,
I'm
man.
Gonna make a piss.
All right, let's do this. Question number 1 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If you could redo one decision in your life, what would it be?
Oh, man. Maybe signing that record deal.
with Diddy?
It was no. I told him no. It was with Asylum Records under Warner Brothers. So. No offense.
All right.
Hey, they put me on the spot, man.
There you go. Hey. Question number 2: is laughter really the best medicine?
I think it's damn good medicine. It's got to be one of the top 3, perhaps.
Because it brings us all together, right? Yeah, your show tonight, you'll have blacks, you'll have Mexicans, you'll have Asians, you'll have whites, and everybody's laughing together.
Now I got way more white folk. Now they know I'm red pill. Good for you.
Question number 3, the Street Gospel Podcast, Furious 5. If you weren't the tamale king, what king would you be?
The Pupusa Prince.
Really?
Tacos, maybe.
I thought you were going to say the Empanada Emperor.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey, don't steal that one, bro.
No, sir.
Don't steal that one.
No, sir.
Question number 4. Best rapper of all time.
Pimp C.
Pimp C.
Yes, sir.
I was debating that with you today. I was thinking Pimp C or Scarface.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say one of them, but Pimp C got it.
Yeah. Well, now my top spot is a tie between Kanye and Pimp C.
I love Kanye. He's my favorite.
Especially after seeing that documentary.
Amazing, right?
I was like, hey, you know what, pimp? It's a tie.
It was genius.
Yeah,
it really was genius.
Ahead of his time. And people roast me on the Discord, all the listeners of the Red Pill Tamales. Kanye once asked me for a photo in Puerto Rico. And they always roast me about it because I always bring it up.
Hey, if that's not a story you get to tell your grandchildren.
Yeah, that's it. I have no proof, but he does. It was on his camera.
Maybe that guy that was filming it.
Actually, I think he was there, to be totally honest.
Cootie?
Yeah.
Cootie, right?
To be completely honest. I think he's the one that took the photo.
Maybe it's out there, bro. I'm gonna have to hit up Cootie.
Yeah.
I'll check. I'll send him a little email.
For sure.
Last question on the Street Gospel, Furious 5. If you can play any venue as a comedian, what venue would it be?
It'd be cool to do the Toyota Center in Houston. That'd be cool.
Nice. The hometown.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet, dog.
For sure.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, man.
Thank you, big dog.
Anything you want to shout out?
Check out my podcast, Red Pill Tamales. And if you want tour tickets, if I'm going to be in your city, chingobling.com. And that's pretty much it, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Good luck tonight.
Nice.
That'll conclude this episode of the Street Gospel Podcast. Make sure you share it with your friends. Check out Chingo Bling, man. Chingo Bling. He's everywhere. Just Google that name. A million things will show up. Music, podcast, his YouTube channel, Patreon. I mean, he's everywhere, man. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you later. We out.